Recording in progress.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I go ahead and call to order this hearing of June 22nd, 2023 in the matter of FSD 22001, SCU 22001, and SEP 22009. My name is Joe Turner. I'm the city's hearings examiner. I'll start with some brief announcements and a summary of the process that will follow so everyone understands how you can participate in the hearing. I start by saying I'm not a city employee. I am licensed as an attorney and trained as a planner. I serve under contract with the City Council. I say that so you know you're getting a somewhat independent review of the application before me today. My role as the hearings examiner is to conduct the hearing and make decisions about certain land use matters in the City of Woodland. In making those decisions, I am required to apply the city's existing laws. I'm not a policymaker. I don't have the authority to vary from or change the laws. If you think that the laws need to be changed, you can work with City Council and Planning Commission to do that. But state law requires that this application be judged based on the laws in effect when the application was filed. As a hearings examiner, I'm to provide an unbiased decision maker. I believe I am unbiased with regard to this application. I have not had any pre-hearing contact with any of the parties regarding the substance of the application, and I don't have any interest in the subject property or any of the surrounding properties. But you have the right to challenge my impartiality, argue that I'm biased in one way or another, and you can do that when it's your opportunity to testify. Procedure will follow. We'll start by asking staff to summarize their staff report, copies of which are available on the city's website. The applicant will have an opportunity to present their proposal and respond to the staff report. If anybody else appears, either in person or online, and wants to say anything about this application, they may do so. And once everyone's had an initial opportunity to testify, I'll give staff and the applicant the opportunity to respond to any testimony that was offered and make a closing argument. It is important that all parties make their best case to me. My decisions are final for purposes of the city, but may be appealed. Let's see. In this case, the Shoreline Substantial Development Permit may be appealed to the Department of Ecology. My decision is a recommendation to the Department of Ecology as far as the Shoreline Conditional Use Permit. And then does SEPA appeal go to Superior Court? I'm sure it does. Yes. Regardless, it's important that all parties make their best case to me because my decision is final for purposes of the city, and any further review is likely to be on the record. They won't allow any new testimony and evidence on appeal or during further review of the conditional use permit. So if you feel you need more time to prepare, you can ask me to hold the record open or continue the hearing. If I hold the record open, you'll have an opportunity to submit additional written testimony and evidence before I make a decision. If I continue the hearing, we can come back and do this again at a later date. But if anybody wants me to hold the record open or continue the hearing, you must make that request before the close of the hearing today and provide some support for whatever you want to submit during the open record or continuance, why that information couldn't be submitted at the hearing today. When you testify, please come on up to the podium. We need to make sure you're on a microphone. Our hearings are recorded, and that's part of our record in the event of an appeal. Please begin your testimony by stating your name and full mailing address. Please spell your last name so I get it right. And if you represent someone else, please say so. There's no arbitrary limit to the length of time you can testify. Testimony should be relevant to the applicable approval criteria which are set out in the staff report. Is there anybody online? Yep.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Just in case, if anybody is online and you want to testify, you can indicate your desire to do so by clicking on the raise your hand icon on your screen. Little hand icon will appear next to your screen. We'll call for testimony from that list. But that concludes my introduction. Okay, so you want to start us out?
Thank you. Just one further note for anyone who may be online, any comments or text put into the comment box over Zoom may be considered part of the record and will be saved and recorded. So
Thank you. I forgot about that issue.
yes, I just wanted to make sure anyone online was aware of that.
Is the chat considered part of the record? Are we, because that, generally it's going by and I'm paying attention to what's going on in the room. I don't expect it to be an issue in this case, but it's,
I would not expect it to be an issue in this case, but I would assume that it is part of the record.
okay. We can talk about that outside the hearing. That's a procedural issue that we should clarify
Yes.
for future hearings.
Yep. In addition, I do have one comment that was sent in yesterday that I do want to enter into the record. I did email it virtually to you as well as to the applicant. However, I do have it in hard copy, understanding that it was sent in late after other comments had
Yeah.
arrived.
I did get a chance to review it last night, but I appreciate having a hard copy. Can't remember which alphabet agency that submitted it. I know what they said, but I can't remember which one it was. Thank you. DFW, that will do.
Good morning, hearing examiner, public. My name is David Lucchese. I'm the associate planner with the City of Woodland. My last name is spelled Lukaczer. Today, we are at a public hearing for the 412 Island Air Drive Stabilization and Restoration Project. These have two relevant applications: a Shoreline Substantial Development Permit, SSD 22001, and a Shoreline Conditional Use Permit, that's SCU 22001. The current proposal for this project is the removal of the existing unpermitted concrete block walls and replacement with a tiered vegetated wall system. It also includes the repair of an existing residential dock, the construction of a private path to the shoreline, and the repair of a concrete bulkhead parallel to the shoreline. The project is located on a residential property off of Island Air Drive, which is a private road. It is within the low-density residential zoning district per the city's zoning ordinance, as well as the residential shoreline environmental designation. As you can see on this aerial view, the backyard of the property abuts Horseshoe Lake, which is a man-made lake here in Woodland, Washington. In the summer of 2022, the applicants installed a series of concrete block retaining walls along the shoreline within the shoreline designation without permits, either building or shoreline permits in place. I do have an image here of the current condition of the property. A stop work order was issued once this was brought to the city's attention, and the applicant has been working with the city since to remedy the situation. The first the application originally was filed with the intention of permitting the placement of the noted concrete block retaining walls within the shoreline jurisdiction. However, the project was put on hold due to concerns expressed by ecology over the feasibility of those concrete retaining walls, as well as the requirement for a shoreline variance. Since then, the city and the applicant has worked with ecology, and the applicant has modified the plans to utilize a flex MSC vegetated wall system to better meet the intent of the Woodland Shoreline Master Program. The first application I will be going through is the Shoreline Substantial Development Permit. The criteria to grant the Shoreline Substantial Development Permit is that the project must be appropriate to the shoreline designation, the project must meet the regulations of the program appropriate to the shoreline designation, and that all policies of the program appropriate to the shoreline designation and proposed use must be met. The proposal has been reviewed against the Woodland Shoreline Master Program for the sections on violations and penalties, boating facilities, shoreline stabilization, shoreline habitat and ecological habitat projects, as well as the critical areas addendum. As conditioned, the proposed development can comply with all built and dimensional regulations of the Shoreline Master Program, and as conditioned, the proposed development can meet the policies of the Shoreline Master Program for the shoreline designation and use. As noted, the proposed development can meet the approval criteria for a shoreline substantial development permit, as conditioned within the staff report. The second permit to be reviewed is the shoreline conditional use permit. The criteria to grant the shoreline conditional use permit is that the city and the Department of Ecology must find that the use proposed is consistent with the policies, regulations, and standards of the Woodland Shoreline Master Program, will not interfere with the normal public use of public shorelines, is compatible with other authorized uses within the area and the comprehensive plan, will cause no significant and adverse effects on the shoreline environment in which it is located, and that the public interest suffers no substantial detrimental effect from the proposed use. As noted and explained within the staff report, the proposed development, as conditioned, can meet those criteria to grant a shoreline conditional use permit. The permit will be additionally transmitted to the Washington State Department of Ecology and will only be finalizing following their approval of per RCW 90.58.140. As conditioned, the proposed development can meet the approval criteria for a shoreline conditional use permit. The city did receive several comments from public agencies in regards to these applications. The Washington State Department of Ecology provided 2 formal comments over the course of the application. The first was dated in September of 2022 and included comments regarding the original concrete block retaining walls and the fact that Ecology felt that it would require a shoreline variance for their placement. Due to Ecology's comments related to the concrete retaining walls, staff and the applicant worked extensively with Ecology to identify an alternative design that Ecology was more comfortable with, and Ecology provided additional standard comments in May of 2023 that did not include the substantive concerns regarding the shoreline stabilization project. Additionally, the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife did submit comments on June 1st, 2023 that noted that the applicant is required to obtain a hydraulic project approval from them prior to the construction of the project. While this did come in after the staff report was completed, Condition 9A of the staff report addresses this concern, requiring hydraulic project approval for any work done in the waters of the state. With that in mind, and as discussed further within the city's staff report, staff is recommending the approval of the following permits associated with this development. Those would be the Shoreline Substantial Development Permit, SSD 22001, and the Shoreline Conditional Use Permit, SCU 22001. Do you have any questions?
Just a couple. The Department of Fish and Wildlife's letter says they have to have a hydraulic permit. Condition 9A says they have to have a hydraulic permit if they're doing work in the waters of the state. And I understand it's not determined yet whether the bulkhead needs to be replaced. So, does WDFW's comment, is one required period, or only if work in the waters?
My suggestion to the applicant would be to contact WDFW directly.
Okay. That's what I assumed. Just wanted
Yep.
to check.
My understanding was it would be if any work was being done in the waterway.
And then I just had some clarification questions on your staff report, starting on page 15. That first paragraph just seems to be missing a few words. It says the proposed vegetated wall system will impact to the existing ecological functions. I assume it meant to say have fewer or something to that effect.
Yes, have fewer.
Page 16. Oh, right above finding 53, SMP section 7.3.1C. Looks like it doesn't apply because there's no stream channel. Or is this Horseshoe Lake considered a stream channel?
Horseshoe Lake is not considered a stream channel to the best of my knowledge.
So would that section not apply because it's...
Yes, it would not apply. I think I was trying to get at that with that finding.
Okay.
That
What was that last one? 16. Pages 20 and 21, they seem to have a conflicting finding. I don't remember what it was. Oh, finding 63 says the applicant is proposing replacement of the existing bulkhead and retaining wall. Finding 65 says the existing bulkhead is not addressed for this application and may require review.
um, 65 would be correct. They are proposing the repair, not the replacement of the bulkhead.
Oh, so they are going to repair the bulkhead?
Yes.
Okay. But not replace?
Correct. The application is for the repair.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I understood. On page 25. Just about the timing of the monitoring plans. It says you have to monitor through 2028 or for 3 years. 2028 is 5 years. Why the difference? Is it just because in case they miss one, there's a deadline?
Yeah, just
Okay.
in case they miss one.
Okay. Page 30. Oh, before we get to 30, 29, condition 7A talks about replanting 3 new cottonwoods for the removal of the 1 cottonwood. It doesn't address the cedar that they're also proposing to remove. Should that be added to that condition, or is that tree gone? They're no longer being removed.
They are not. They're no longer taking that out.
Okay. Thank you. And page 30, condition 8 requires that all soils be used, match historic and existing soils. My understanding, the bags that they're using are filled with soil. Does that soil match the existing?
I would say yes,
Okay.
just in case it breaks or flows out from the process.
So it's required to. We don't know if it does.
Yeah.
They can fill it with whatever they need to do. Is that how that system works?
I believe so.
Okay. And last one was condition 15. Requires building permits and building plan review after relocation is complete. What are we relocating? And why after the fact? Condition 26 requires building permits before any additional work. So there seems to conflict there. I'm sorry, page 26, not condition 26. Says that building permits are required before additional work.
Yep, it should be that building permits are required before additional work.
Okay. That was the only questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It's the applicant's opportunity to testify. somebody needs to come up on the mic. Yeah, just need to know if you have anything you want to say, or if you have any issues with the conditions of the staff report.
No, my name is Carla Morgan,
With C or K?
C. Last name Morgan.
Thank you.
Sorry, a little bit nervous, not been in this setting
No
before.
problem.
We found out about this product later on after we had started all this, and it's been quite a year.
I bet.
But this Flex product is a really fine product. I've looked into it quite a bit. I've had a lot of help from local suppliers. And I think it's something that, had I known about it in the first place, this is the way we would have gone. It literally grows your vegetation directly through the bag. It has an extremely long lifespan. It is from recycled product, so its footprint is nil. It's very strong, and it's more forgiving, if you will, by design. So that led to not having to take out the cedar, because you can literally curve it with a shoreline. It's fully breathable, so water, everything goes directly through it. You don't even have a, like a French drain would go behind a cinder block wall. This, you don't have that, because they want water to flow through it. Because it's just natural. And it's something that I think probably even for the whole lake area, in areas that are falling, would be an excellent thing. This is not something that will touch the water, but you could literally put them directly in the water. It's friendly to everybody. There's so much, and I think I'm losing my path as to exactly what I want to say. Did you have any questions that might help me
No.
better able to?
An interesting product. I think
Yeah.
I've seen it out in the wild before.
Right.
I had no idea that's what it was. But
Yeah, they've used it extensively in Washington, in wherever it states is wherever water meets the land, it's something that can be used, and it constructs similarly to that of cinder block, so you can create paths. And our desire is to make it more path-like rather than utilization of stairs or anything like that. But it's extremely user-friendly.
Right.
So.
do you have any? Did you get a chance to review the conditions of approval, and do you have any objections to those?
As far as I understand them, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have anything? Okay.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else online who'd like to say anything about this application? Please raise your hand if you're there, and staff's checking to see if there is anybody there. Click on the raise your hand button.
There does not appear to be any
Okay.
attendees online.
Anything further from staff?
I do not have anything further.
Mr. and Mrs. Morgan, anything else you want to add? Okay. With that, I will close the hearing and close the record based on the findings in the staff report with a couple of minor modifications that we talked about with staff. I will approve this application. Subject, it does comply with the approval criteria based on the findings, so I will approve it. I will approve the conditional use, no, the shoreline substantial development permit and the SEPA review. I will recommend Ecology approve the conditional use permit. And I will issue my decision within about 2 weeks. I'll send it to the city. The city will send it to parties of record, which is the applicant in this case. And that concludes the hearing. Thank you.
Requ-